We believe in a union not just between the nations of the United Kingdom, but between all of our citizens, every one of us, whoever we are and wherever we're from. That means fighting against the burning injustice that if you're born poor, you will die on average 9 years earlier than others. If you're black, you're treated more harshly by the criminal justice system than if you're white. If you're a white working-class boy, you're less likely than anybody else in Britain to go to university. If you're at a state school, you're less likely to reach the top professions than if you're educated privately. If you're a woman, you will earn less than a man. If you suffer from mental health problems, there's not enough help to hand. If you're young...
Over the last year, I've seen the divisions grow around Brexit. In communities, in families, there are real tensions. Real tensions. So how do we go forward? We could all retreat to our respective side of the argument and let the bitterness drive us further apart. We could allow ourselves to be defined only as Remainers or Leavers. Labels that meant nothing to us only a few years ago. But where would that take us? Who wants to live in a country stuck in this endless loop? What's needed is a bit of understanding. Understanding of why so many people felt so frustrated with the system they voted to leave. And understanding why so many others believe that staying in the EU is the only way to protect our valuable, open and diverse society. Some people seem to look at the issue the wrong way round. They tend to think the first question is leave or remain, as if either is actually an end in itself. I think they're wrong. The first question is, what kind of society do we want to be? And on that, people can find so much common ground. The real divide in our country is not how people voted in 2016. The real divide is between the many and the few. Whether you're in Tottenham or Mansfield, Stockwell or Stoke, Medway or Manchester, so many of the problems you face are exactly the same. The injustices in our society are deepening. Those injustices aren't to do with backstops, implementation periods and all that rather strange and often obscure jargon. They are about whether your children will go to a school that can afford the basics, or one where the head teacher sends begging letters to parents. Whether your relatives will be treated quickly and safely on the National Health Service, or wait in pain and distress for months. Whether your parents will get a helping hand in old age, or be left isolated and very afraid. And whether we as a country can end the burning injustices in our society. Theresa May once talked about that, but did nothing about it. Austerity, insecure work, low wages cause anger and disillusion. Some want to use that to stoke further division. But it wasn't the European Union that slashed public services to pay for tax cuts for the richest. It wasn't nurses and teachers who crashed our economy. It was bankers and hedge funds. And it wasn't immigrants who caused the biggest squeeze on wages since the Napoleonic Wars. It was bad employers. We need solutions, not scapegoats.
Headlines like these have been a reliable way for British newspapers to win attention. In 2015, the UN Human Rights Chief urged the UK to tackle tabloid hate speech after migrants were called cockroaches. The article in The Sun began, Show me pictures of coffins, show me bodies floating in water, play violins, and show me skinny people looking sad. I still don't care.
You referred to a plague of feral humans. I mean, are they all feral? I mean, is it actually a plague?
It's because you look at them and think, you are nothing like me. You don't understand how our culture works. These individuals from some of these cultures they come from are feral humans.
The UN described a nasty underbelly of racism and noted that Nazi media also referred to people as cockroaches and rats. Brexiteers sailed in on fears built up over decades. Most Leave voters live in areas with very few immigrants. 9 of the 10 districts with the highest Leave vote had low immigration. Lambeth in London, which recorded the highest Remain vote of 78%, saw a net annual influx of 4,598 immigrants, while Castle Point in Essex saw only 81 new immigrants, but 72% of people there voted Leave. At first, this might seem surprising, but it's a well-established trend that when we meet immigrants, we lose our fear of them. The illusion is broken. The UK media is the least trusted in Europe by some margin. Perhaps even more readers need to recognise the deception before things improve.
When you blame your neighbour rather than the powerful for problems with the health system, or for overcrowded classrooms, or for lack of housing, you're letting those responsible off the hook. All you've done is fuel an atmosphere of division and nastiness in our society. The biggest issues facing us, like tax avoidance and the power of multinational corporations, are international issues that demand international solutions. And the biggest issue of all, and it is the biggest of all, the climate and environment emergency that threatens everyone's future, cannot be averted by one country alone. Climate breakdown, air pollution, and the frightening, nay, terrifying loss of species demand and require collaboration across national borders. We have to work together to confront the issues facing the whole globe. If we don't, then we're all facing a very uncertain future. We need to unite the overwhelming majority of people and take on the privileged and the powerful. Address the inequalities that help fuel the Brexit vote by investing in our communities and people all across the country, ending austerity and creating a fairer society. Transform our economy, our country, and tackle injustice, inequality, and the climate crisis.